there, I'm Tiffany. I'll be teaching you the Learn to Row class here at UCR. This is a mini-series, so just to explain what the equipment is, we have the monorail right here, the seat. This is where you put your feet in, the flex seat. This is the handle. You can actually put this here when we actually start, but for now we want to keep it over by the top. This is the performance monitor. This is the dapper, and then right here is the flywheel. For the flywheel, this is actually a variable resistance performance type of workout. And using the flywheel, it actually, when you use your power, you're actually driving the fly to actually spin. So it's kind of using like a wind power. So you'll hear noises, and it's normal. Then we have the dapper here. For the dapper, there's actually different numbers. So it's 1 through 10. The higher the number usually means it's the higher the, not so much the resistance, but your force that you'd be able to play. So say if you're doing a if you're doing a boat that is focused in on carrying cargo, it's going to be going towards 10. If you want something a little bit light, high speed, it's going to be towards the bottom. Now most of the time, the individual is usually at the beginner, stay with between the 1 to 3 number, so that way you get used to the form. More experienced people go up to number 6. Not too often they go up to number 10. All right, so to explain how to take this apart, usually we don't do this here, but say if we were, you would just pull on this tab here and then pull it apart from there. So, like that. Put that on. And make sure it doesn't move. All right, so when you're looking at the monitor, you want to make sure that it's facing you and you're not having to look up or down for it, okay? So keep it at the front. And then I'm going to show you how to put your feet in. You're just going to put, the straps should be right over the ball of your foot or even the laces of your shoes. And you can adjust this by pulling this thing down, up and down here, okay? Putting your feet back in. Make sure you're strapped on, not too tight, but enough to where when you're doing this, it's going to hold your feet, okay? We're going to pull this up to the holder here, and then this is where you're just going to keep, you'll actually see that your monitor may even start when it says that, and we'll go into the monitor in a little bit. So just to show you what it looks like, we're actually just going to start in the catch here, then it's going to a drive, this would be the finish, and then the recovery, okay? So just for a second, you can watch me. And you'll notice that I always kind of keep myself upward. You have your chin equal to just looking forward. You don't have to bring it up or down. Chin is even. Your shoulders are relaxed. You have your hands that are actually strapping onto the holder or the handle, and your thumbs are underneath. And you're driving from your legs, okay? All right. Automatically, it's going to probably show you this main menu. Most of the time they just go with the Just Row, but you can actually select games or a workout. We'll go into the new workout in a second, or in a bit. So we're going to go with the Just Row, and it's going to show you different units and displays, okay? So to show you 500 meters, this is your pace. Actually, let's change this now, and I'll show you a little bit better. All right, so this will be your pace right here. This will be your strokes per minute. This is the actual real time. This is the meters that you'll be rowing in during the time. And then this one just kind of just shows you the average, but it's usually going off of your pace. All right, so let's get started, and I can show you as I'm moving, it will start to move, okay? So right now it's trying to get my strokes per minute. I'm at a 25. Usually people stick with the 18 to 23 strokes per minute to start, and then it kind of goes up from there. Average is about a 28. Right? And then now let's get started with a little bit of an intro warm-up start, okay? So from here, we're actually starting with the catch here. You actually have your heels come up a little bit. Your knees aren't quite perpendicular, so it's like kind of keeping equal here. Still have your shoulders relaxed. You're actually at a 1 p.m. If you're looking at a clock, 1 p.m. position here. Your chest is kind of forward, but you don't want to drive your hips back when we get started, okay? So really just focus on driving your legs back. You're pushing your legs back from here, and your arms are still staying forward here. So it's still above those knees. That's when you're going into that drive, okay? So let's just start here, and this is just going about the arms. You're going straight to the drive to the finish. And then once you get to the finish, actually the finish will be here touching right at your sternum. And then you're just taking the handle here. So if we're gonna do, let's practice this part. This is the arms only, getting used to this position. So when you're back at the finish, you're actually driving this back, and you want your arms to come here before you start moving into the recovery period. Okay, so you really want to keep that right here. So let's just do arms only for a few turns. And then we'll do arms and back. So arms and back, you're actually stretching a little bit forward. That's when you start to bring your knees in, okay? So let's do those. And then let's go back to recovery, all the way back. So this is what the whole move looks like. You're going from 1 o'clock through a 12 o'clock into a 1 o'clock to the back, okay? Keep going. And now let's actually go into what the positions are for going into the stops. So for the stops here, you're actually, first one would be from the catch. You're just putting your heels down and you're going right here, okay? So it's not very much. This is the three quarters right here, stroke. And then taking it to the half. Let's just practice this a few times. So your knees are still kind of going back, but you have your heels down, and you're not fully extending your knees yet, but you're still feeling that drive through your hips. Okay? And then finally we'll go into a little three-quarter. Get used to that moving. This one, your knees aren't fully straight, but it's almost straight here. And then you go into the full, and that's when you touch up. All right, so let's actually go into a pause hold. So what we're going to do is, I'll show you here. We're going to do 2 strokes all the way full, and then we're actually going to pause it to where your arms are forward. Hold. So that gets you used to that movement, driving those hips back, and they're going right over those knees, okay? So that's the goal here. You don't want to let your knees come up before your arms do, because when you do that, you'll notice that your shoulders trying to cup forward, you lose that core tightness, and it's not the correct form. You want to make sure those arms stay in the front. You also want to avoid driving from your hips back with your tailbone. Doing so, it looks like this, and then it'll feel weird even because you're fully straightening out your legs. You want to keep it in here. Really try to box in your knees as well. Let's stop at the top. You'll see actually a box here. Your arms are actually boxing in your legs. This actually keeps you from going forward or going back too much, as well as it keeps the correct form. So I'm going to show you how to actually enter in intervals, which would be like a timed workout we're going to do. We're actually push main menu back. It's going to show you the main menu here. We're going to go to select workout, go to new workout, and then you'll see different options here like single distance, single time, 3 different types of intervals. I usually go by interval time because this is when we're going to do it for 1 minute of work and then 1 minute of rest. So here, still have that 1 minute, so you're just going to move over to the top and you're moving over to the next section until you get to the rest time, and you're just going to add 1 minute. And then once you're done, there's a check mark at the side, on the last button at the top, or on the bottom, and then you just click that. So this will get ready, and it's going to show you the intervals to be 1 minute of work, 1 minute of rest. All right, so let's get started. Let's start with those the 3 quarters, so doing the different strokes here. So let's start from the back. Let's just start going into the 3 quarters here. Then we'll go into the half for a little bit longer. Remember, still driving from those legs. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Chin is still facing that the monitor. And now going into the 4th here, or the quarter. So not fully straight yet. And then when you're ready, you take it to the finish here and recover. All right, so keep going. Now we're actually going to go into the time. Let's actually watch the strokes per minute. You see how I kind of sped up there just to get some power in, but I think I'm going to tone it down just a tad bit. Let's start going to 23 strokes per minute here. And now I just kind of did a warm up here. Now the first rest, I'm going to explain a little bit more of the form, and then we'll go into the actual interval changing here. So for here, you want to make sure that you're still straining forward, even when you're going back, and you have those that box. Then you want to make sure that you can let your heels come up when you go into the catch here, okay? So you don't have to let that stay up right here. You can let that come over. Just make sure you don't have that perpendicular. Still 35 seconds here, so just do a few more strokes. Don't let that handle hit the sternum. You can, doesn't have to be for that long, it's just to reach for that section. Still have 22 seconds. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you really focus on that 1 to 11. So you don't want to go too much forward where your knees are coming out to the side. You still want to have that straight line here. You want to have that vertical shins, and then you want to pull it back. All right, so getting ready for that interval. 3, 2, 1, let's start. And say at any time you want to actually add a little bit more force here, you're actually going to start pulling a little bit harder with the handles. Just let it come towards you a little bit quicker. And you'll start to notice that maybe your strokes per minute don't move, but the time for your pace will start to change a bit. So maybe even less to do the 500 meters. And now we're coming up to that end of that interval. 3, 2, and 1. And bring it to that. Now you can start to take yourself off, and this is the end of my mini series. And how to clean your rovers, actually we're going to clean your seat with the wipe, doesn't matter what kind, and then for your monitor, or monorail, you can actually use a cloth-based type of cleaner, or if you're cleaning it once a week, clean it with alcohol, but you don't want to use Windex.